Right guys, so there's been a huge debate regarding the iPhone going portless or getting the USB-C port instead. And while we have more details regarding the legislation in place from the European government, and so let's delve into it. So the EU has now given us an official date for the deadline that's been put in place for all physically charged devices to move to the USB-C port. So that's the 28th of December 2024, which is quite a while away and does make me think, if we're going to see the iPhone get the Type-C port, it might not transition to this immediately. In fact, Apple has until the iPhone 17 series before they have to switch to this port. Since do remember, iPhone 15 is going to launch in September 2023, iPhone 16 is going to launch in September 2024, so that is still before the deadline. And so the iPhone 17 releasing in September 2025 will be the first iPhone that releases after the legislation's in place. So yeah, honestly, I would not be surprised if Apple till the very last minute retains the Lightning port, and then of course with the 17 series makes a transition to the Type-C port. Now of course there is still a side of the community that believes Apple's gonna go portless, and well, I still disagree with that, to be honest, because the iPhone's not ready yet for a portless future. For example, transferring data over a portless device is going to be near impossible, and that's very much needed. Also regarding transferring data, remember the Pro phones do have ProRes recording, so you need to transfer that, and transferring that over MagSafe, again, is just going to be a pain, so giving these phones access to Thunderbolt, and more specifically the Type-C port, is pretty important. Now don't get me wrong, in the future I could see Apple going portless, it's just right now the tech's not ready yet, and considering that Apple's already begun switching some of their devices to the Type-C ports, I think the iPhone's next. And yeah, we've heard about this from leakers like Ming-Chi Kuo and Gurman, so I do think it's very likely we're going to get the Type-C port. There's just a chance it might not happen with the 15 series, and instead we see it released later. Anyways, let's delve into your questions. So at user says, still happy with the 7 Plus, it does everything it needs to, waiting for a bigger jump. Maybe the 15 Ultra will be the one. Many people I know are still rocking the 6S or the 7, looking to upgrade next year. So that's interesting, you still know many using the 6S or the 7, because in my personal life, a lot of people do have newer iPhones. I would say the most popular iPhone I see friends and families use are the iPhone 11 series, and so they won't be upgrading anytime soon, but I think for you, coming from the 7 Plus, the 15 Ultra should be a big upgrade. Heck, the 14 Pro Max already has a ton of upgrades, but if the 7 Plus still works for you, then of course, by all means, keep using it. And yeah, that's the great thing about modern iPhones. If your use case is pretty light, you can keep using these for years and years, even after they lose support, because Apple does occasionally still give them security updates. And so yes, longevity-wise, the iPhone is undefeated. So at BG says, since no one has seemed to express it so far, I personally disagree with the size increase for the Pros. For me, it's already on the brink of being comfortable to use with one hand and portability while still having the Pro features. If you want the bigger screen, you might as well get the Pro Max/Ultra, which yeah, they could probably go nuts on, because either way, they're already too big for me. I personally go with an iPad for content consumption anyways, while the phone's supposed to be about ease of use on the go. So fair enough, I understand that. I know many who like the size of the 6.1-inch Pro and think it's perfect, and so I can understand why you want no size increase. However, I do think if the regular Pro does see a size increase, it's going to be a very small increase, and I'm sure it's not going to make a massive difference. Since I'm sure that Apple's done the market research, and they know that hey, this portion of the user base loves this size, do not drastically change it. And so yeah, the size increase should be minimal, much like of course we saw this year with the 14 Pro series. They got ever so slightly taller, but of course it did not make a massive difference. So James says, I can see the haptic buttons coming exclusively to the Ultra to make it more waterproof. And yeah, that could be the case. That is going to be the big positive with these haptic buttons. And so the additional water resistance being a big selling point for the Ultra could make sense. So Dan says, I don't use the case for my phone. The stainless steel on my Pro Max is pretty solid. All I do is polish up to get rid of the scratches. Titanium should be even better, so I'm not too worried. about haptic buttons being covered by a case. So fair enough, but do remember there is a very, very, very small portion of consumers that are brave enough like yourself to go caseless, and so I'm sure if haptic buttons don't work well with the case, they either give it cutouts or they scrap the feature. But I do agree that durability wise, titanium is going to be a lot better, because obviously with stainless steel it does scratch pretty easily, and yes, I know you can polish a Silver Pros because they have no PVD coating, but that's not the case for the other colours. And so yeah, titanium should be a lot more scratch resistant with its matte finish. So Timmy says, I am still waiting for the iPhone 17 and I'm sure it's going to have a crazy feature. Now it's interesting you're planning your upgrades out that early, because I wouldn't plan out that, hey, I'm going to buy the iPhone 18, then the iPhone 21, because we don't know what those iPhones are going to have. So yeah, just upgrade when you need to. Till then, keep using the iPhone you have, and don't worry about future iPhones. So Matthew says, "Duh, he mentioned me," and no problem. I really appreciate the comments. And he also says, I suggested going 6.7 inches to 7 inches, so maintain the same size increase as 6.1 inches, but I agree 7 inches would be too big and ridiculous. I always liked smaller phones and felt the 10 was the perfect size, but now I'm game for 6.3 inches, and will be hard pressed to not go for the Ultra if that was the only model with the periscope zoom. These haptic buttons though, was anyone really asking for this? Just seems like yet another thing Apple can throw out to increase prices. So regarding the first part of the comment, I do completely agree that 7 inches would be ridiculous. I still don't see the iPhone getting that big. I also do agree the 10 size was the perfect iPhone size. I actually do miss the iPhone 10 design in general, and it would be nice if we could go back to rounded edges. Also regarding 6.3 inches, I think that would be nice. I just hope it's not too big for those who love the 6.1 inch size. However, maybe the additional space could allow the regular Pro to get some more camera features, like the periscope zoom lens. And regarding the haptic buttons, yes, I agree nobody really asked for this, but I think there are benefits. There's now going to be more space inside the device, it's going to be more satisfying to use the buttons, and also there's less moving parts. However, yes, it would suck if Apple did increase the price for these haptic buttons. If that is the case, I'm hoping there are other features that justifies the price increase. Anyways, tell me your thoughts regarding this report in the comments. Anyways, thank you for watching guys, make sure to like and subscribe for the latest Apple news and rumours. Check out the video in the link above on details regarding Apple's VR headsets, and on that note, see ya peeps.